All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Inside In Tennis Podcast. Mitch Michals here, all part of the Believe Network. This podcast is available on all your platforms, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We are into late October in the 2025 tennis season, having a chance to step back and talk to some of the premier players, coaches, and analysts in the game. And for the first time on this show, fortunate to talk to this man. He has been involved in pro coaching for 15 years. He has coached 7 different Grand Slam runs, had to update the list at Wimbledon this year. And he also founded the Unbox coaching agency, co-founder of that in 2024, elevating pro coaches. A lot to get into with this man whose resume speaks for himself. It's Wim Fissette joining the show. Wim, pleasure to have you on the show. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Hello there. Thank you for the invitation. Happy to be on the show.
Yeah, it's exciting to talk to you. Right now, you're working with Iga Swiatek, who won Wimbledon. We have a lot to get into with your career and your journey. But I do want to know how you're feeling and how you're holding up this time of year, right? Like, as fans, there's a little bit of fatigue. I can only imagine what it's like late October, the season that started literally before New Year. There's still stuff to play for, but how are you dealing with the season being as long as it is as we gear up for month 10, 11 here?
Actually, I'm fine. Like I'm we have the WTA Finals coming up, and honestly, I'm just really excited to go. I just spent a week at home with my family after a longer Asia trip. I feel recharged. I feel like I'm happy to be in Warsaw right now. Also, it's been a while that we had like also time to practice for a few weeks. Like so here 1 week, then we do a week of preparation in Riyadh, and then we're starting the WTA Finals.
Yeah, each part of your schedule, there's a lot of planning. Like I've talked to other coaches, right, women, so much of your job. Obviously, there's the tennis component, which is crucial, but you have to be a master planner. You have to figure out when to have breaks, when to see your family. Was that a learned skill for you, or did you develop by necessity over time? I got to be wise with how I spend and calculate my time.
Honestly, I struggle with the balance with family and then work. Like I'm married. I have two young kids that play tennis, and I struggle to, let's say no to my player. I know I know what the ideal situation is, and when I'm here in Warsaw at the training, like we can all work together as a team. That like the ideal scenario. And like this year has been super busy. It's not been easy, like to combine everything. But like unfortunately, sometimes work comes first. My wife's not always happy with that, but she supports me. I mean, the best possible way, and even also my kids the same thing. But sometimes it would be nice to be a little bit more home, to be honest.
Yeah, the life of a coach, I'm sure there's so many rewards, but you have to make sacrifices. We talk about it with the players. The coaches, not as much. It isn't as highlighted as much as it should. But in your specific case, Wim, coming out of Belgium and being a player yourself, Belgium is a tennis-rich nation. It's growing and rich. I don't think I think you would agree maybe the pedigree isn't historically as dominant as other countries, but there's been so many pros in recent memory coming out. What was your origin story with tennis? How did you first fall in love with the game and ultimately become a successful competitive player as a junior?
Yeah, I was about 8 years old, and my mom started to play tennis at a later age, and of course then I was joining her to her tennis sessions, and then somebody gave me a racket. There was a wall I could hit against. And then some local tennis camp I joined, and like some coach saw a little bit of talent in there, and as far as I remembered, I really loved hitting the tennis ball, and I still do. Super passionate about the game, and so I started like only like an hour a week, then 2 hours a week, always like a little bit more. I was under 9. I was maybe top 10, top 15 in Belgium, and step by step grew on those ranking. And under 18, I was like top 3 in Belgium, top 4 behind great players like Xavier Malisse and Olivier Rochus. And at that time, they were already world-class players. Like they were the best of the world. They were winning a lot of international tournaments, and I was able sometimes to join them and win the European championships together as a team. Where only they were playing, but I was there. And so yeah, a lot of good experiences. And at that time, I finished school, and at that time there was a big decision. I was good in tennis, but I wasn't like the best. And those two players, they were like already world class. So it was a bit difficult to say where I was, but I wanted to have the experience. And at that time, I actually moved to Germany to train and to play some international tournaments. And I did that for about 2 years. It was a great time. I mean, I'm really happy that I did that. I gained experiences, traveled the world. Living in Germany, I also learned a new language, which helped me later in my career. Met some great people, learned from great coaches, and but at that time for me tennis was over, and I decided to stop and decided to go to study. So that was so kind of at 20 years old, that was my end of my tennis career. And 25 years later, I was not expecting to be in this position 25 years later, to be honest.
Well, fascinating stuff there. One being, it seems like talking to players, coaches, it's always the wall. Like, it always starts with the tennis wall. That's the best partner. It always starts there. Yeah. But, your career, and you gave up the game at 20. You saw, okay, this is where it's going to take me. There are a lot of players, Wim, that would hang on and would keep going and try. What did you maybe learn about yourself and your ability to move on? Like, because there are players that wouldn't make that grown-up decision. They would just keep struggling, keep grinding. You said at 20, okay, it's time. This is done. It's time to find something else.
Yeah. I mean, it's two ways. First of all, I'm a very realistic person. I'm not a dreamer. So I just see what's happening on the tour, right? Like, I see like great players, or I saw great players around me. I saw younger players around me. And I don't know, I also don't think I truly believed in myself, and that's something that is super important. And on the other hand, financially, it's very tough. Like, to train in a foreign country, to play international tournaments. And, thinking back, because at 18 I was physically and mentally quite young, I do think college would have been a better trajectory for me as a player. So because of course I wanted to also to study, to have a plan B. On the other hand, I loved playing tennis, and to give me, let's say, more chances in my career. So I'm super happy how my career went. But for me as a player, I think if I could make that decision again, I would have probably chosen the college direction.
It seems like it's the smarter way to go now for a lot of players, but it just back then, and it's not even hindsight, it was foreign, right? Like, it wasn't, especially, some international players, it wasn't viewed as, fairly or unfairly, a viable option. But now you're seeing players come and play college at a high level.
I remember, like, there were some coaches like that came to watch me play, but as no one was doing that in my country, it didn't seem to be like an option. Yeah, just like, let's say the option to be an international coach for like top players. There was no coach in Belgium that was kind of coaching like foreign players, So I also didn't see that as an option. So for me at that time, okay, then I go study.
It's so true. Like, your path, and we can get into it, right? Like, you work with Kim Clijsters as a hitting partner. She goes on this ultimate comeback run. But I don't want to say it's like by the grace of God, but it's very fortunate. Like, it's not a trajectory that we would see, that you would even try to emulate. Your path to coaching happened by chance and preparation, obviously, but a lot of good fortune.
You have to be lucky in your life sometimes, right? But I do feel like everyone gets some chances in their life, maybe by luck, and then you just need to be ready to take these chances. And that's what I felt. I was very fortunate, of course. Like, I mean, I was training with her when I was 15 and she was 12, and we trained for several years. And she went her path, I went my path, and we kind of saw each other again when I was like 25, and at a WTA tournament in Belgium, and then I started hitting with her sometimes, and then step by step, like traveling to a tournament as a hitting partner. And I was 27, actually, when I decided to quit my job, I was working in sales in a building company at that time, to quit my job and to travel full time.
Wow.
And it was like, I guess, 2 months later, where she announced she was retiring from professional tennis. So
timing wasn't exactly perfect, but
no, at that time
yeah.
I was like, maybe that wasn't like the
Yeah.
best decision in my life, but I kind of always had the feeling
Yeah.
that she was coming back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, because at that time players were not coming back after
Yeah.
giving birth. So I wanted to be ready. I felt that was my passion,
Yeah.
coaching in tennis. That's what I wanted to do. So I started to educate myself as good as possible, and I got a great coach's education in our federation in Belgium, and I went to lots of seminars and had great mentors in Belgium. So actually, when she called me to help her with her comeback as a coach in early 2009, I felt I had the knowledge, the technical knowledge, the tactical knowledge to help her. Of course, I didn't have the experience, but I was ready to find a way to compensate with that.
Yeah, and that comeback, which is legendary, we still haven't really seen anything like it since then. Did you have a sense that, because the timeline's the crazy part, it happened so fast, but were there ingredients with a champion? She had won titles before, won majors before. But in seeing her day to day, I know there was a lot of rust and you had to see her develop and get to a certain level. But did you see even early with Kim that there were ingredients, that there's a champion in there, that it is only a matter of time before she gets to an elite level again?
I was 100% confident like she would achieve all her goals when she was coming back in 2009. I remembered I told her like 2 days before her first match in Cincinnati, I said, I think you're ready to dominate women's tennis for the next years. Because she was already such a good player before she retired. And with the preparation we had, like I felt like in all different parts, like physical, mental, technical, after 7 months of preparation, I felt she was a much better player than before. And so she was ready to conquer the world, and I'm happy she did.
In the mental side, especially, you get the point of a player being mentally mature, but still having the physically gifts. When it intersects, it's just the perfect time. Do you ever think about what you'd be doing right now if you didn't give up that sales job? You think you'd still be in sales, or just if it didn't work out the way?
Probably. Actually, I was enjoying myself too. Like the company was good. They were giving me chances to grow in the company. So like I don't know. It's difficult to say, but like I'm super happy I followed the passion though.
In your coaching career, and I wanted to look at it because there's similarities. Like every player is different, but just looking at it from the face surface, Wim, there's a trend of you working with champions to get back to that level. So you've worked with a lot of players that have had success that are trying to find it again. Do you find that that's, it's a unique challenge, I would assume, but do you find that taps into what you can do into, proving to players and working with players not to discover new goals, but get back to where they've previously been?
Yeah, like I mean, that's what happened in my career, kind of a few times. But it's not necessary. Like, I mean, I would also enjoy working like with a younger player and to bring like that player to the top. But if you have the opportunity, of course, when you get a call to work with someone like Iga or like Angie in the past, or Vika, I mean, you take that opportunity, right? Like, and honestly, it's funny because when I'm between jobs, I don't get calls to work with someone who's 50 in the world. And I would also be super interested in some younger players and to bring them like to the top of the game. Like I would be very interested, but I don't know. It's like you said, maybe I have that status or like, but I'm happy so far how it went.
Right. There's just a lot in terms of like so much is made, I've found, on the outside, Wim, about working with or the work of the geniuses in any field, that it can be tough. There could be pressure there, but you're also seeing the positive side. You're seeing how they work and how they attack tasks on a different level when you're up close.
Mhm.
With that though, and it's a fair point. There's pressure. The top players
Mhm.
view themselves as the best because they are, and they expect better things. So it is like it's a tough balance. But I get what you're saying. It's just timing and how it's worked out. You wouldn't be opposed to working with a player on the rise. It just has happened that you've been working with some of the biggest names in women's tennis.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's been really great. It's not often I look back, but of course, when I look back, it's like, okay, wow,
Hmm.
like this, like
Hmm.
those were 15 great years working with some amazing
Yeah.
players. And have some incredible memories. But yeah, in the future, for sure, like I would be interested to work also with younger players.
Well, we got Wim Fissette here on the Inside in Tennis podcast talking to Iga Swiatek's coach of 7 different slam runs, one of the premier WTA coaches in the game, discussing, your run after Clijsters and after she got back to the top of the game as your career in coaching started to take off and flourish. We worked with a bunch of different players, Wim. We mentioned some of them. There was Sabine Lisicki, there was Simona Halep, Naomi Osaka, obviously, Azarenka, Joanna Konta, a lot of different players, a lot of different types of players. So when you started to move around and coach different jobs, did you find that you had to, or by nature were adjusting your style? Because a lot of coaches in different sports, one of their falters is that they're not able to adjust their style to fit the athlete. So how were you able to balance that and adjust your style to coach
Mhm.
these different types of players?
Yeah, well, you have to. Like,
Hmm.
of course, I have my, let's say, coaching philosophy and how I look at tennis, but the coaching style is a very personal style, like to personal to the player.
Hmm.
And like my first player was obviously Kim, and like I knew her for so many years. And after that, it was of course like a big test. Like, I honestly also didn't know where I was because I was just coaching this extremely good player. Like,
Hmm.
was it me doing a good job, or was it just her being a phenomenal player? So actually, I coached a junior, like she was 18 years old at that time. I did that for a year, also because I just wanted to test myself. Can I really develop a player?
Yeah.
Because that's a complete different thing. And then after a year, I had the chance to work with Lisicki, and that was one of the crucial moments in my career, I feel, because that was a top player. I had a lot of belief in her, but I needed to, yeah, coach her with a complete different style than I was coaching, let's say, Kim before.
Hmm.
And yeah, just bringing her to like the Wimbledon final and yeah, beating Serena on the way and Radwanska on the way.
Yeah.
That was just for me the moment where I felt confident in myself,
Yeah.
and where after that result, I felt like, okay, this could be a great job for me because it looks like I can adjust to different players. I can adjust with a different style, different kind of motivating, different kind of like technical adjustments.
Hmm.
So yeah, it is crucial. Also lately, of course, going from Naomi Osaka to Iga,
Yeah.
it's completely different style. Like
Right.
I didn't even compare. Sometimes people ask me like, aren't they a bit similar? Like both a bit introverted. I'm like, I mean, both of them are a bit introverted, but that's where it ends. Like they're
Yeah.
completely different players and they need a complete different coaching style.
Yeah.
And yeah, I honestly I really like that about my job, like finding ways and getting to know the player, listening to the player, and
Right.
find these ingredients that can help the player winning these big
Yeah.
titles.
That Sabine Lisicki run was very special. How it went down being Serena, as you said. And it also highlights something else. Like you've been fortunate who you've worked with, a lot of Grand Slam success, but there's only one winner each tournament. We measure success a lot by just who wins the title. That was an impressive run. There's so many players that achieve success that don't have the hardware, so to speak, at the end. So I thought that was another thing. It highlights the fact that, we got a grade on a curve by what success is, and that run was a truly transcendent one for her.
Hmm. Yeah, it was super special. Like
Yeah.
when I got to know her, of course, I knew that she was a good grass court player,
Mm.
and but yeah, like the draw was very difficult, especially Serena in the third round and fourth round, and then Radwanska in the semis. Like it was an incredible run.
Hmm.
she found a way. She found the confidence to beat those players and play her best tennis in the biggest moments. And yeah,
Yeah.
very fortunate. Yeah, to be in that position there.
Do you find in terms of, being a coach, you've been around a while now and the respect levels there, but did it take time for you to earn that respect within the locker room, within the coaching community? And I also bring up the fact that, you didn't play at the highest level, the very top. So there's players that coach that were great, transcendent Hall of Fame pros. Did it take time for you to build your reputation and build that respect?
Yeah, it did, but it's more like in myself, like where I needed time to like truly have confidence in myself and believe in myself and
Right.
believe that like this is my spot, coaching the best players in the world. And one of the players that really kind of helped me with that was actually Vika.
Yeah.
Also, it was a very important moment in my career where um, I almost made the decision to stay more home and not to be on the tour again. My wife was
Yeah.
pregnant at that time, and things didn't go too well on the tour for me. And then I got a call from Vika, and I don't know, she was so confident in me and also about my family, that my family could travel like wherever they wanted, always could join me. And
Yeah.
that was really special because I never believed that was possible, like to
Hmm.
combine also like coaching a top player but still
Yeah.
combining it with a good balanced family life. And for me, that was super important. And Vika, yeah, also in my coaching style, like she believed in me so much. And that's why
Yeah.
also after she gave birth, I also like went back because we had such a great
Yeah.
partnership. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, confidence never lacking with Vico, we know, but they're
Mhm.
very exceptional and just done a lot of work on and off the court for not just the tour, but for women and for female players. So it makes
Yeah.
total sense there. When
Mhm.
you're looking at your coaching, career, and I know you don't look back a lot, but your style and how it's developed, are you reflecting a lot on maybe methods, ways that you're trying to implement things? And, similarly, Wim, are you trying to change some things when things don't work? Are you constantly like, okay, maybe throw that out or tweak this? Are you constantly reflecting on how you coach?
Yeah, I do a lot, to be honest. More after losses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
that's really a moment where you say, okay, like what could I have done differently? You know, like should we have practiced this more? Should I have said this before the match, or should I have like coached her better during the match? You know, those are moments that you really reflect, and which is also important because you need to be also critical for yourself. You need to be critical
Yeah.
for the player,
Uh-huh.
finding ways to improve, but also to yourself, you know. And tennis of 2025 is not the same like it was 10 years ago, and also it's not going to be the same in 10 years. So we need to
Yeah.
evolve. We need to also use new techniques. We need to be
Yeah.
open
Right.
to also become a better coach, and that's what I'm trying to do. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I still want to be at the top of the game in a few years, and for that, I know I need to become a better coach than I am now.
What's something that you've seen? I mean, because I agree completely. You would know more than anyone how it's evolved, but how has tennis evolved? What's one thing you can point to that's changed about the women's game in the last 10 years?
Well, two crucial things for me. I mean, the serve, like every player has now a big first serve, and a break really means a break. Where
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago that wasn't really the case. Only when you played Serena.
Yeah.
And then the game has become so physical, you know, like physical in a way that, of course, the players hit bigger, they hit more spin, but also from defense, they're able to go more quicker in the counter attack. Where 10 years ago, you hit a big ball in the corner and the ball was coming back with a slice or was like a loopy ball. But now, like the players are so strong and so fast from the corners. So those two things for me have changed the game like
Yeah.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah, the physicality people bring up, but in terms of the serve, I think that's a great point. Like we're seeing consolidation. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you're 100% right that they're consolidating breaks a lot better in terms
Mm.
of what it actually means. And yeah, it's managing schedules is more important now than ever before, right? You talk about physicality, you have to know when to play and when to be smart. And working with top players, Wim, I'm sure not saving, but maybe, protecting players from themselves, because you work with some of the hardest workers in the game,
Yeah,
historically even.
yeah,
It's probably sometimes hard for them to get off the practice court and take a rest day. And that's part of where coaching comes in.
yeah. And for that, it's a very important topic. And for that, we have a whole team around the player, right?
Mhm.
And especially now with Iga, I'm really fortunate to be in this team where also she's being monitored
Yeah.
so well, where she's being tested every day, where they get certain numbers every day. And we follow those numbers, like she plays usually the most matches of all players on tour every season. So it's really important that she gets her rest when she needs some rest, that she gets shorter practice days when she needs that, but also that we push whenever we can push. And yeah, that's of course crucial, like
Yeah.
to keep her healthy physically, but also mentally, like she works with a sports psychologist, so also there we get the feedback, and all together we make the decisions,
Yeah.
to give her more days off. It's not like oh, you're playing great now, you can have like 2 days
Right.
off. No, but it's
Right.
more like just where is she, like physically, mentally. Okay, this is the way
Yeah.
we're gonna do it the next days.
Yeah, having a team component, it's changed a lot too, right? I'm sure you can speak to that, where when you started coaching, it wasn't as many team members, as many people, I should say, with roles, whether
Yeah.
it's, how you want to phrase it before, like entourage or just hangers on, whatever. Nowadays, it seems like the bigger groups all have specific roles and duties within the team. And I think that's helping not only the top players, but the game itself. It's producing high quality tennis as a result.
Yes, and it's producing also more depth in the game. Like I feel like when, especially now with the Grand Slams, where you have so much prize money from the first rounds,
Yeah.
even like lower ranked players that are 80, 90, they can already pay for like a team around them and people that help them. So in that way, they will also, because you need good people to develop as a player, and that's why like the depth in the tennis is getting
Right.
like so good, and it's the margins are getting smaller.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's many gimmies in first rounds of majors anymore, right? Like back in the day, maybe you could just look at the first round and be like, all right, we're good. So maybe round 3. Now it doesn't quite seem that way.
There were days that we're looking who we might meet in the quarters,
Yeah.
and but those days are over, like far
Yeah.
far over. Like the first day is the first match is already a battle, and
Yeah.
yeah, so it's different.
Well, we know that, Iga's this tremendous champion, already built a Hall of Fame resume, Win, but what's something that you learned working with her? When you first started working with her on the practice court, seeing how she operates, looks to be from the outside one of the great competitors we've ever seen. But what's something you learned working with this great talent, practicing in the day-to-day life?
Yeah, I mean, the intensity that she brings on the practice courts is like exactly the same what you see in matches. But I kind of saw that because I was watching some of her practices also in the past years. What I really learned, and what I think is super smart, is how she kind of deals with let's say the days between matches and Grand Slams, or a 2-week event where you have like the day off. We all know Iga, how focused she is and like completely in her zone. But the next day she really goes to the opposite, like in the full relaxation mode, where she kind of like recharges to go from the full focus to like the full relaxation. And that's also, I guess, why she's able to do it like kind of every match or every week, because she has this like up focus, and then she goes down again. And like I really like it, like how she kind of switches off, goes into the park, goes to the beach, like doesn't think about tennis. And yeah, that's something I will definitely advise in the future other players that I will work with.
Yeah. It's a very tough skill to develop. These tournaments, not just majors now, but the Masters events are so long that you can't maintain that high level of focus and stress for the entire time. So being able to take a beat and rest is a very unique skill. You know, and we talk about top players a lot, Wim, and Iga was one that, you know, stayed the course. I think that's what we always say, trust in the process. You put the work and the results will come. At Wimbledon, did you have inclinations that a result was around the corner? It was not one that people would predict that she would succeed in, and yet there she was, the last woman standing. Going into Wimbledon, did you see her as, you know, finding something as the fortnight started?
Afterwards is always just easy to say yes, but I think so. There was a lot of positive signals, you know. First of all, I remember starting with Iga and had some interviews with Polish journalists, and they're all like, "Oh, Wim, like we know, like Iga will play. She can play very well on the clay, and she knows like how to play on the clay. But what about the grass?" And I always said, you know what, like I believe that she could do great on the grass. You know, like if you look at the past champions, now there were not only like the super big hitters that won the grass, also like the great movers and like the smarter players. So I had that belief. And honestly, after working with Iga for about 6 months, I think I got to know her a lot better. And for me, also going into the grass court season was an opening, let's say, to bring a little bit more of my ideas, because she never had really good results on the grass. I had some good experiences on the grass, and also. After Paris, we had a few days off. Then we had like a week of training in Mallorca, which was really nice. Like just combining like the work and also some relaxation. And then the preparation tournament in Bad Homburg. And actually, I felt she was playing very well. And I saw her level growing from the first match she played there until like the finals with Pegula. And Pegula played a good match in Bad Homburg, but I actually felt pretty good about her level there. You know, like I mean, you never know. There's also no ideal path. How will I win the Grand Slam when I do this preparation? But I felt like she had no belief or no confidence on the surface before, but that confidence and belief was growing like day by day. And you know, if a player like Iga can grow her confidence day by day, like there's a lot possible. So
and how she closed the tournament too was just remarkable, where it kept getting better, the confidence grew. I've said this before on this show, Wim, but there's very few champions ever that have played downhill, and I mean that as a compliment, where she gets confidence in the lead, she kind of steamrolls to the final. I think confidence is a funny thing in all sports, and you know, like Wimbledon, a lot of surfaces, grass players don't play on that much. It doesn't take long to find that spark, and how it went down, given all the outside noise about that surface and her game, it had to be poetic in a lot of ways. And you winning that surface as a coach too, after, you know, winning it before in 2018, seems like it was a pretty poetic finish.
Yeah, I also think, like, you know, she kind of didn't have the expectations, and then, you know, step by step she was just feeling better, and like it was like the two last matches where she kind of played perfectly with Bencic and Asimova. It was like I watched those matches again, and it's like kind of the perfect performances like from her side, you know, like so I'm super impressed by that, and it's like memory for life to finish the tournament with two matches like that.
Yeah, hard to give notes after performances like that as a coach, where it's just like, that was it. How was the Wimbledon ball? I saw the photos there. How was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very special, you know, like winning Wimbledon and going there at the ball. It's kind of the place where everyone wants to be some point in their career, and really fortunate to be there with Team Iga. The funny story is actually in 2018, when I was coaching Kerber and Angie won Wimbledon. That's actually where I met Iga for the first time, as she was the junior champion.
Wow.
So a few years back, I met her there, and then then
we got to see who
together at the ball.
We got to see who won the junior. I got to look up who won the junior events this year to see who will be coaching in 10 years. But we'll see.
Yeah, good one.
A couple more things with Wim Fissette here on the Inside in Tennis podcast, talking to premier coach on the WTA, 7 Grand Slams, worked with Iga Swiatek now, the reigning Wimbledon champion. And Wim, one of your legacies outside of pro coaching on the day-to-day side is Unbox Sports, working with Yannick Yoshizawa to establish an agency for coaches, to elevate coaches in a world of uncertainty at the pro level. Done some great stuff. I've talked to a couple members of this team. Why was this a passion project for you, important to set something up to benefit pro coaches as a whole in tennis?
Well, for me, it's really important, and I wish something like Unbox would have existed already before. But it's something I missed early in my career because we kind of by ourselves, the coaches so far, where the players are being represented, we were not, or we are not. And just to do like the negotiations yourself, unfortunately, like the stat is that there's still a lot of coaches without a contract on the tour, and that's something I want to see improve. I want to see it more professional, and I want to see the coaches getting the support, and that's what we're trying to achieve with Unbox. First of all, that we really take care of the coaches and make sure they all have a contract. We're not just speaking about the tennis coaches, but the teams in general. The teams have a huge impact on the career of players, and they deserve the support, and they deserve to be elevated. And on the other hand, we see a lot of also commercial opportunities that haven't been used in the past years. The coaches get a lot of TV time, where now off-court coaching is allowed, and there's a lot of like interesting things to see when the coaches start coaching the player. I think it's great TV. It's super interesting, but it also we can clearly see that there are like a lot of opportunities for coaches, to have more sponsor deals. And I really hope that we're still a young company. We have achieved already some really good things, but I really hope we can keep growing and help like the future, this generation coaches, but especially also like the next generation, that they all have the support they need.
It's a tough business to break into. It's even tougher to maintain continuity in. You've experienced it as one of the premier coaches, having to transition jobs a few times. So I think this is great, because what we've seen a lot of times too, Wim, is how important continuity is and how important experience is. So I think this could be a game changer. And I think it's, like you said too, especially, I wasn't really thinking about it, like the opportunity is just outside of coaching on the day-to-day job. This could be a huge things for other opportunities outside of just exclusively coaching.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was thinking that, especially when I was in 22 and I was between jobs, and I was at home, and actually there are actually also so many things that I could do. I was obviously waiting for a good new opportunity, but on the other hand, I love coaching. So in those times, like I could have maybe helped some younger players, some maybe helped as a consultant in a federation or some academy. There are a lot of things I could have done, but without like somebody helping me, like I don't know how I could have done that. I can't call like an academy like, hey, this is Wim, like can you maybe, or do you need some help, or like for a few weeks, because I wanted to be busy. I love the coaching, and even for like a week or a few weeks time, that would have been great. So in that time I really said, okay, now something needs to change. There need to be some representation, and actually few months later, like that was kind of the start of unboxing.
Could be a player taking a long break or sabbatical to give you something to do. And I think it's great. I think this is a huge opportunity to advance coaching, and really, like you said, the next generation, it's going to be a tool at their disposal to use. Well, this has been a fun chat. A couple quick hitters out the door with Wim Fissette on the Inside in Tennis podcast. You did mention in-match coaching, and I've been paying attention to a lot of tennis. I haven't really seen yourself mic'd up too much, so I'm curious the reception, how you enjoy, or how you're getting used to, as like an OG in coaching, this new renaissance with in-match coaching and coaches being mic'd up.
Yeah, I love the of course coaching. I love the fact that you can have impact on a match and that you can have that can help the
Yeah.
player. I still think that we have a long way to go
Yeah.
to make things, let's say, better also in this coaching world.
Yeah.
Um, Australian Open this year was for me like the perfect scenario where we have the
Everybody
coaching.
loved that. I've talked to a few coaches. They all say
Right.
Australia, how it was set up was perfect.
Right. And I was hoping that all the other tournaments, especially the slams, would be inspired by the great idea of the Australian Open.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we did not see it at
Yeah.
other tournaments. But I really hope that this could be the standard. You know, like it's, of course, coaching is allowed. Coaching is allowed. But we need to have the opportunity to coach. So if we're far from the player, like we can't coach. You know, so in all the other sports, like you have the field, you have the court, you have the pitch, and
Yeah.
you have you have the players, and you have the coaching box. And this there should be a certain standard in the tennis. Like when you want to organize a tennis event, well, you also need the coaching box. It's not the seats that don't sell that you give to the coach. You know, it's like
Right.
it's the spot where the coach can really see the game and have access to the player to coach. Like that's what we need. So Australian Open was perfect, and I hope that this could be the standard. But yeah, like it's really interesting. Every player obviously also needs different kind of coaching. I try to help the player, try to find the moment and the word to have impact, to have to change the way a match is going. Usually when things are going well, I kind of let the player do. But of course, when you see then the match switching, or you see something is not working, could be technically, most of the time more tactically, but yeah, then you try to use some keywords, and for that also like you need time to get to know the player, what works for the player, what sounds very clear for the player. And yeah, I'm happy, like also the second half of the year, also there we made some good improvements in that way.
Yeah, it's not like you're seeing like Messi or somebody yell out in the crowd at somebody in the stands, like trying to get in touch with their coach, and that's kind of how tennis seems sometimes. So,
well, exactly. This is yeah. So
we'll get there.
let's hope in the future. Yeah, step by step.
Got some progress. Do you consider yourself higher up on coaches that use data and analytics, or how do you factor in the data, whether it's scouting or whether it's in the actual match as it's going on? How advanced is your data usage?
My priority is use data in the player development. I think that's for me, most important, because if my player, and speak about Iga now, if I can find ways through data, and data shows the areas where there is room for improvement, if I can use that and make those improvements, you know, like she will be tough to beat. And I love to focus on our own strength and go into the match usually with focusing on our strengths. That is the key, but obviously also using data for scouting opponents. But it's tricky. So I also love to watch a few matches of the player before, not only data, because data, like the combination is really important. So I have my notes of previous matches, I have video, and then I kind of combine it with the data. But
awesome.
I cannot imagine to coach without data right now. Like it's part of coaching for sure.
You embrace it. I mean, it's here. It's an information at your disposal, so it makes total sense. But Wim Fissette, this was a blast. I really do appreciate you coming on the show. Last thing I have, though, what are some ways you unwind and hobbies away from the court when you're in Belgium with your family? How you enjoy yourself when you get a break from the tennis grind?
A lot of things. I like to go into the nature, so a lot of hiking. Also on the road, I try to find the nature sometimes. I like to spend time with friends and have a good Belgian beer. That's definitely also something I enjoy. At home, spending time with the kids and going to their tennis lessons stays in the tennis. Also a foodie, love good food. So traveling the
Okay.
world, like I do enjoy the local
Okay.
food.
Okay.
But yeah, play some golf sometimes,
Oh, all right.
running, be active as well.
All right. Activity is good, especially with all that Belgian great beer that you guys have. Are you on the tiramisu train? Is that
No,
just the Iga or no? Okay.
I'm not a I'm not I'm not a dessert person.
Okay.
That's more Iga, yeah.
Well, Wim Fissette, I appreciate it. You've done phenomenal work. Keep up the great work with Iga and your coaching journey going forward, and terrific stuff with Unbox, helping out not just coaches in your position, but the next generation. We really appreciate you coming on the Inside in Tennis podcast. This was fun. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Thank you. Please send me the invite for the next one.
Absolutely. Now you're on the hook. Now you're on the hook. You can't say no. But
Oh, I will not. Keep
Wim
my
Fissette.
promises.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. That was Wim Fissette. This was the Inside in Tennis podcast. Hope everybody out there enjoyed this episode. And if you want to find this episode in the entire catalog, you can just search Inside in Tennis podcast. Available on all your platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music, all part of the Believe Network. Subscribe to the show so every episode's automatically downloaded. You can also leave a nice rating and a review if you're so kind. And check out the YouTube channel at Mitch Michals for the full video episode of this and our other episodes with outstanding guests. So for Wim Fissette, my name is Mitch Michals. This was the Inside in Tennis podcast. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you soon.